Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and today's guest hails from Wisconsin. Trained at the Dojo of Pain under Shane Hills, and has wrestled all over the Midwest, including Midwest All-Star Wrestling, Wisconsin Pro Wrestling, Minnesota Independent Wrestling, Steel Domain Wrestling, to name a few. He's the current Steel Domain Wrestling Northern States champ. He has also held the AWF TV title as well as the MAW championship. He's been in the ring with Zach Hendricks, Austin Aero, Tiger Ali, Sterling Bond, Ethan Price. And on Saturday night, October 3rd, he'll be wrestling for Chicagoland Championship Wrestling's debut TV taping of Saturday Night Grapplemasters. He'll be in the main event in a three-way dance between Marche All Day Rocket and the Shogun Chris Logan. And this is for the CCW Heavyweight Championship. You may know him as the Soldier of Fortune. Others know him as the Mercenary, but today my guest is the man, Garrisaon Creed. Hey, Garrisaon, what's going on?
Thank you very much, my man. Yep, you nailed it down there. I'm heavy in throughout the Midwest. You only gave a handful of the companies I've worked for.
Yeah.
Where they are anymore. But I mean, you can throw in a good chunk of Western Canada, Oklahoma. You can add Texas down to the list now. I've also hit a couple of spots on the East Coast as well. So slowly but surely branching out.
Yeah. Is Steel Domain Wrestling, is that run by Ace Steel?
It's the same company. It's run by Ed Hellier now, but it's still the same company, the same legacy, the same history. I just actually watched back when Adam Pearce dropped the title that I'm holding now. Back in 2003, I finally watched that match, and it kind of hit a little bit. It's, knowing that, I'm holding the title that the former NWA World's Champion held.
Yeah.
So it means a little extra.
Is that a cool feeling? Like when you get like a belt, do you go immediately to like a mirror and look at yourself with it on you?
There's the little bit of, a little bit inside of us all that are like, yeah, hey, look at this. And you got to mark out a little bit for yourself. But I also take any title that I hold very seriously, because I mean, obviously that company is now, they're trusting me to be a figurehead for their company, a representative. So that just means that not only do I have a little bit extra, they're looking at me a little bit with extra respect in the locker room throughout, but they're expecting me to work in a professional manner as their champion, whether I'm working for them or I'm working for another company, because now I am a representative of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you do reflects upon them. So before we get into wrestling, I just have a quick question. I've watched a bunch of your matches, and you obviously have tattoos. What's the longest, specifically the one on your back, how long did that take? Is it one sitting, or you have to come back?
The majority of the one on my back was one sitting. It was about 9 hours. We took a lunch break, but yeah, I just sat there, took a nap, and he did his job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you run out of things to talk to at a certain point?
Oh, he came prepared. He had a TV, he had a whole pile of movies. I mean, he just did his thing, and I just chilled.
That's hilarious. Okay, let's go back in time. Did you grow up in Wisconsin?
Yeah, I grew up on the eastern side of Wisconsin, Kewanee.
Oh, okay. I went to Madison for college, so I've been all over there. So growing up, were you as defined muscular as you are now?
I was actually an old farm boy. Stupid strong, not really the most dexterous. I mean, I tried going out for basketball, wasn't the best there. Was only good in baseball because I can cream the ball out of the park. Went out for football, was defensive line the majority of it. They also threw me on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. At the time, I mean, here I am playing varsity football at only 170 pounds. I was kind of tiny, but I was still able to, give kind of a wall up just for my small stature. But no, living where I was a farm boy. I mean, I worked on various farms in summertime, make that extra money. Uh-huh. Had a bicycle if I wanted to go to a friend's place from the time I was like 12, 13. My nearest friend lives 7 miles away.
Oh, wow.
Get on the old two-wheeler and bike your ass there.
Jeez. So when did you get into wrestling? Oh, watching it and being interested?
Well, I was always a fan of it. I mean, I vaguely remember the epic confrontation between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. The big body slam heard around the world.
Yep.
But it wasn't probably until when WCW Monday Nitro started up, and I was introduced. And it wasn't the big names that got me. There wasn't the Hogan or the Luger or the Macho Man or Randy Savage. It was the up and comers, getting introduced to Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio. He was established, but I didn't know he was established. Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah.
Those solid mid card guys in WCW is what really got me stuck into professional wrestling, and Monday nights became habitual for me to have to sit down and watch that.
Yeah, so that kind of inspired you. When did you say, I'm going to go look for a trainer? I'm start training to be a pro wrestler?
Never dawned on me. I wanted to, had no idea where to start. So, I mean, upon graduating high school, like any kid, you try to figure out what to do with life. I didn't know what to do. So I wanted a couple more years to think about it. So I went and joined the service. When I was Army infantry, I went overseas, multiple tours, did a lot of the stuff that's portrayed in the movies.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But also a lot of the hurry up and wait. But when I got out, I went to college, got my degree in social change.
Wow.
Didn't really find anything in that job field. Ended up, working, getting myself a manager's job for a construction company.
Oh, okay.
At the nice tender age of 32, found out that where I was living, just a couple of miles down the road, there's a guy with a ring in his barn, and he's training professional wrestlers.
Just randomly, you heard that?
Why the hell am I not there? The guy I called. That following Sunday, I started training.
Now, do you have to pay up front?
With him, it was a monthly fee.
Oh, okay.
But he was also very flexible with how to work with all that. But at the same time, if you weren't cutting the bread, he'd show you the door.
Oh, okay.
So you had to have you had to be making progress continuously throughout camp. And if he thought you weren't doing it,
it's not worth his
you
time.
ain't cutting it in this business, kid.
Wow. So what was were you, after your first day or your first week of training, did it exceed what you expected, or did you think, oh my God, this is much harder than I thought?
I think I was just more enamored with being inside a professional wrestling ring. We got a little quick history on that, and that particular ring that we're using was an old WWE ring that he had somehow acquired over, in his time. But then they hear about the program that he was running. It was the Mike Mercury program that produced, veterans of the business like Ken Kennedy and Hornswoggle.
Oh, wow.
And eventually down the line, we had a couple other people like Stacy Shadows and Silas Young, both of Ring of Honor, who Stacy Shadows had a hand in my training. And she's a woman with something to prove. She wants to hang with the guys just as much as anybody else. My training was very, very physical, very strong. We tested the limits of what I had to do, and they found out I'm also very stubborn, and by those limits, it's a little bit to get to.
Yeah.
And I also had my Army backing to kind of back me up on all that, my Army training, because I mean, you have to be physically fit in that to endure what you did there. Came on in here, now add on top of it, you're taking a beating for everything, and it all just kind of came together, and just throughout the training, and even still now in the ring and on the road, I'm getting all these little clicks that make the business just make more sense, and the ring is just becoming more smooth for me, second nature, and it's just all coming together.
So when did you get sent out after how much training did you get sent out for your first match?
Sent out? Oh, I was never actually sent out. I just sort of went and did one eventually.
Oh, okay.
But no, it was about after 6 months of training, I got a phone call saying, hey, if you show up here, hey, we're guys short. If you show up here, we'll put you in a battle royal and give you a match. Sent a text to my trainer. It's like, hey, I got this opportunity. He's like, well, are you going to take it? Yeah. Raced my ass on over there, and
Were you
I
nervous?
was off to the races. Yes, you have to be. Even today, I'm still nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm not nervous, I'm not sharp.
Okay.
I use that nervousness as my way to bring a hyper focus to what I'm doing in the ring and all the movements, and then also to pay attention to what the fans and the crowd are reacting to.
Yeah.
What they
Did they hear?
What's that?
I was gonna say, could you hear the audience on your first match, or were you just
I can't hear anything.
Oh, wow.
I'm 80% deaf. I can't hear anything.
Oh, okay. So you have to do other ways to get the crowd, in your hand.
I have to visibly see them reacting.
And
in some venues, it's even weirder because if I know one for Insane Championship Wrestling in Milwaukee, they run at the Opeka Lounge, and it's like a small little theater auditorium, but the acoustics are set up in just a way that crowd could be in an uproar, and I hear television snow. I can't hear a person.
Was that like you were born with that, or something happened?
That's from my Army experiences.
Okay. So did your Army experiences, you were talking about the training, help you with, you were talking about having anxiety or nervousness, but that is a good thing because it keeps you sharp. Did that kind of come from your Army background? That you always have to be kind of ready?
Well, you can't really get cold feet when the enemy's shooting at you.
Uh-huh.
You got to react somehow. So you can maybe call it a forced way of dealing with your anxiety.
Okay.
And now anytime that I do kind of have that type of reaction to anything, I like to hit it headlong. So yes, where I got that nervousness, maybe even that little anxiety coming on in, I'm looking at it and I'm attacking it like that's my next obstacle, that's my next challenge. And in professional wrestling, when you start knocking down those obstacles and that challenge, you start looking for the next one, and hoping the next one's could be a little bit more difficult for you.
Sure.
So it's all my goal-oriented nature.
And does that keep it fun as well? Like,
Most definitely, yeah.
Okay. So pretend Corona wasn't going on right now, were you traveling in wrestling every weekend?
I was doing 2 to 4 shows every weekend.
Oh, wow.
Not a whole lot in Wisconsin itself. I mean, I have a couple of favorite companies that I work for here, but I'm heavily over in the Minnesota with Midwest All-Star Wrestling, Steel Domain Wrestling, and Minnesota Independent Wrestling. But then I just branched on down to Rocket Pro Wrestling in Joliet, Illinois, along with Berwyn Championship Wrestling. And I was in talks with a couple of places in Indiana. Was going to start hitting up there this past summer. I do occasionally, if I do have a rare open weekend, I'll make a couple of phone calls, get a carload of guys and be like, hey, there's some shows going on here. Let's show up and see what we can cause.
Oh.
And a lot of times, I'll admit, when I show up and I meet that promoter, he kind of takes one look at me and goes, we're going to make you a spot.
That must be a good feeling.
It is very humbling, and I enjoy it a lot. I had that experience down in Oklahoma where I did that. I had one booking down there. I had 2 more days of whatever. I showed up at another show, met the promoter. He says, yeah, we'll get you in. And then on top of it, just showing up, not advertised, in halfway across the country where I didn't think anybody in that crowd was going to know who I was.
Yeah.
As soon as my music hit, I got a pop. So, hey, thank you, Internet, for kind of helping get my name out there a little bit. I was kind of blown away. I had a promo ready to introduce myself, and I'm like, well, I ain't going to need that promo to go off the hip on this one.
So is it hard to, have a personal life, see your friends and family, when you're wrestling all the time?
Well, my personal life comes with me. I have a 10-year-old son that and I got him. I have him a good chunk of the time. And
awesome!
So he comes with me, and he gets to meet all the other guys in the locker rooms. He's kind of become part of the locker room a lot of times, for good and bad.
That's amazing.
He's got that social interaction, and I swear, half the time he's learned how to work the crowd better than the boys in the back.
Has he ever gotten in the ring? Like,
He does, but he's not the most interested in it. He's more interesting with schmoozing with the crowd and getting him to buy him some stuff from the gift.
Well, like you must like be like a superhero to him when he sees you in the ring.
He does. He plays it down around me, but then he talks me up to others. So again, it kind of hits the heartstrings a bit.
So what do you think is like the most important thing someone should know about getting into the wrestling business?
Two things.
Okay.
It's called professional wrestling for a reason. It's professional. You're not going on out there just to have a spotlight put on you. You're out there to be held up to that higher standard. Treat yourself like a professional. Others will treat you like a professional as well. Also, it is a business. Learn how to sell yourself. Learn how to sell other things. You're there to put asses in seats and sell tickets. You're not there to get your own jollies off. And a lot of people, I think, kind of get that confusion of, oh, I want to go out there and I want to do this spot and this spot and this spot and this spot. Even though the crowd, they completely lose them. They decide to go on and up. They check their phone. They go and get another beer.
Yeah.
They're not investing in the match. Essentially, they're taking that ass out of the seat that you want them to stay in.
Yeah. Oh, God. So I'm going to let you go. I know you have to get off, but I'm going to ask you first 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions. Nothing creepy or anything. So, all right. 5 questions. Have you ever given someone the finger while driving?
Often, yes.
Okay. For $1,900, would you eat a piece of cheese that's like got fur on it? You know, like when it molds and it's gross.
I think I did that when I was hungry in Iraq.
So $1,900, you would do it.
Easy.
Okay. Are you a fan of Israeli trance music?
No idea what it is, so can't really say I'm a fan.
Okay, I don't really even know what it is either. It just seems very scary to me and threatening. Do you consider a canvas painted just one color, like black or red, as art?
Depends on the brush strokes. It depends on how well I can see it.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just one very fluid, well, actually, even that one, yes, I'd say yes.
Okay, yeah, because I've seen them in the Art Institute and stuff, and like I wonder, like I could have done that. Oh well. Okay, so my last question was going to be if you get tired of having people misspell your name, but you clarified that the A was just put in there for social media search purposes.
Yep.
Okay, so you're only getting the 4 questions.
Like I said, we said off before you started recording it. If you look it up and you don't have that extra A in Garrison, you're going to get this dime store romance novel series called Garrison's Creed. And I'm sure if you're a professional wrestling fan, you're not going to want to read that.
Has any bookstores called you to do a reading? No? Okay, so that's not bad. Thank you so much for coming on. Just to remind everyone, Garrison will be appearing on October 3rd, Saturday night, Chicagoland Championship Wrestling. It's in Michigan City, Indiana, and he'll be wrestling in a 3-way dance in the main event for the CCW Championship. So I would love to talk.
3 of the best guys in the Midwest.
Oh my God.
For the honor to be the first Chicagoland Championship Wrestling champion.
Have you seen what the belt looks like?
Yes, I have. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'll be there for sure, and I'll search you out. But maybe one time after the show, we could talk.
Are you absolutely, my man?
Oh, I would love to. Are you appearing anywhere else other than the October 3rd date?
These upcoming 3 weekends, the Saturday is the 12th, 19th, and 26th of September. I will be down at Warrior Wrestling, making an appearance, making myself known to the bigger stage of professional wrestling. September 25th, I will be at SCW outside the West Bend area. That will be on a Friday. And then, other than Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, that's all I got right on the top of my head that I can think of.
Yeah.
For that GCW, the Collective on October 9th, 10th, and 11th. I am not booked on any of those shows yet.
Yeah.
But I am planning to make an appearance there for the entire weekend to let people know, hey, who I am. I'm there, available to use as a talent or as a hand. Again, trying to get on that bigger stage. And then there's other opportunities coming up down the line too. Other trips, other stuff. You can always find more of my matches on YouTube as well.
For sure. All right. Well, you take care and stay safe and healthy, and I'll talk to you in October for sure.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, my man.
My pleasure. Take care.